now let's get back to the main board. We're going to talk data here for a second. One of the things I will point out, and this is over off of forwardobserver.com, as we get into, let me find it real fast. This one, pay attention to this headline, and it is a very interesting data point. And the reason for it is because, and I'll show you in a minute, it's tied to uranium one. U.S. nuclear reactors receive about a quarter, it's 25% of their nuclear fuel from Russian sources. Okay. All right. And it says here that the DOE, Department of Energy, will support a U.S.-based uranium enrichment industry through purchases of nuclear fuel. The U.S. has one uranium enrichment facility, which is owned by a foreign multinational conglomerate. Let's get over here to pay to play. That's exactly what all of this stuff was going on. You can remember you even had governors in on it from that's the Oregon Energy LLC. This was that big, giant Hillary Clinton Foundation scandal that every one of these people should be in jail, and not a one of them, to my knowledge, has been. I think maybe one guy out of this entire thing has been put in jail. But don't lose sight over here by Burisma, and notice that Burisma is tied to BlackRock, who is tied to Shifty Shift. BlackRock, by the way, Chapter 11 in January of this year. Pay attention to that, because when the housing market starts to slide even more than it is now, that's going to come back into play, okay? But yeah, these are all the people that were tied into this whole pay-to-play scam where the American people were raped and pillaged for a period of time. Thank you, State Department. Thank you, corrupt administration. So, okay, let's get back to this one, and now we're going to delve into the meat of all of this. Okay, now I put a question out there in the survey to see what you guys thought relative to, is the United States were they involved in this whole Nord Stream sabotage effort? And so let's take a look at the data, and I think some of it may actually change some of your minds. About 83% of you said yes, but there's still some folks out there that don't think that. And so we're going to watch some videos here, and then I'm going to show you the data from a Skyglass perspective. All right, here we go.
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Yes, that little grin. Now, take a look at this. This box that you see, this has actually been pulled together. This is actually going to be your data. If you just see the big square, that's basically just the watch area that we have put into play so that you can kind of concentrate on just that. It's nothing else coming really around in terms of focal points, okay? Now, you see this aircraft coming in. This is going to be the live video. We're going to look at some closer shots as I point out the data. This is starting at around, I think it's around 3 a.m. The time slot is actually going to be in the HUD, bottom right, just to the left. You can see in the fluorescent green there the time, the actual time, not the one in the top left corner. Pay no attention to that. Okay, that's actually just when it was recorded as Skyglass was open. So you see the aircraft coming into this picture. I'm going to show you what aircraft that is. This is showing as a P-8 aircraft over on OpenADS-B Exchange. It's a Boeing P-8 Poseidon. That is a naval sub-hunter, okay? And that's key because we know this is an underwater attack. Were their comms established is going to be the big question as we watch this come in. Now, the other key to this is notice that it's a masked aircraft. It's got the NA in front of it. That means okay, hopefully you can hear me now. Sorry about that. I was showing the screen. All right, let me back up because I think I was on mute there. All right, so we're going to go through this again. I apologize. I think I muted myself after coming out of the Biden video. But all right, so the box here, as I repeat myself, is basically the focal box. Okay, this is coming in. The aircraft that's coming into the picture here is actually going to be an NA. It's a Poseidon P-8 Navy sub hunter, but the NA means it's masked. That means that they cannot, that we can't track it per se. And the call sign is just a bunch of the little asterisks all the way across. Okay, which is interesting. Now, the reason I point this out is because if you go look for this P-8 that I just showed you here. In the data, this is actually the one this is the same aircraft leaving the area, and you look up the hex code that's associated with this, which is going to be this AE. Let's see, I think it's like a 5861 or something like that. I can't make it out from my screen, but I'm pretty confident that's the number. Nonetheless, if you go look up the hex code, it is not in the database. So there is a high probability that this aircraft has what they call the rolling hex codes, where they can actually change identity, change itself. So it's very hard to trace and track. I tried to add it to my watch list, but because the hex code is not showing in the system, it's not in the database, you can't track it. Okay, so let's watch it come in. Now note, when it comes in from the left to right, it's actually coming across. It's going to go into an air refueling cycle, and then from there, it's going to bounce out across into that region right over the Nordstream stuff. Okay, so here we go. The aircraft comes in. This is about 1.5 minutes long, folks. Okay, so I'm going to talk to it as it's coming inbound. You can see it start to deviate. Right now, it's almost directly over the Nordstream2 pipeline, but it comes on across. Notice this this KC-135 comes in, and it goes into the air refueling together, right? That marshalling pattern. So now they're flying around. They're doing an air refuel hookup. This guy's getting some juice as he just keeps buzzing around for a minute. They're at an altitude of about 25,000 feet. Okay. And then as it goes in, so they're at 24,600, I think, something like that. Right now, the time is you're getting up to about 4:30 a.m. I think it is, or coming into about 4:30 a.m. as it starts to enter over the Nord Stream area. Okay, so now they've got fuel, and you can see his directional heading is about to start changing, and he's going to bug out, and he's going to hook a right, and they separate, and so the air refueler starts to bug back to its home base, and then this thing comes in over the Nord Stream and starts to descend in altitude down to about 10,800 feet, and there it is doing a little loop, and then it starts to do some little jiggy line stuff. Okay, altitude is starting to change again. Now let's get down into the weeds of this, and you can see this is around 4:30 a.m. as it actually 7 a.m. as it's bugging out, but in the window of around 2:30 to 4:30 a.m. on the day of the detonation. Remember, they woke up and they said overnight somebody took out the Nordstream 2, and we believe it's sabotage. Here you have what we believe is a P-8 Poseidon, which is a Navy sub hunter, but it also is a comms vehicle for subs. Now, I'm not a Navy guy, and I would love to hear from one of our Poseidon experts out there. I know we've got them that are watchers. If you can tell me, I don't know if that altitude allows them to drop that boom or whatever it may be, how they communicate. The P-8 Poseidon's a little more advanced than the P-3. Maybe it doesn't need to drop something in the water to comms with a sub. But nonetheless, it flew over that area at the wee hours of the morning before everybody woke up and saw this incident, and bugged out of the area as an NA masked aircraft. It is U.S. military aircraft. And so there you have it. Like I said, share this far and wide. I think this is going to get some traction. I apologize for being on mute there for a minute. Sometimes on my OBS stream,